All right, everybody, we are live here on the World of Ability vodcast, and I am Kurt Roskopf. Pleased to be with you today on September 10th, 2022 at 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. It's noon over in the Pacific time zone as we are live on YouTube and setting this up to be shared over to Facebook. And we have our Zoom user, Mariana Waikiki, Mariana de Mexico, and I think there is a Mariana de Miami and so forth. We have Rudy coming on here. So we're going to be talking finances today, and we're going to be talking about book projects and app games and, going ahead and diving into the world of people who are deaf or hard of hearing. And so it is going to be a fun show. We're just going to keep on moving. And I want to set the stage that I created this show with Marcus Hart of Transform You Media Network back July 26, 2020. That was the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. We celebrate that because it is the legislative milestone that the federal government became serious about enforcing with federal dollars spent, that programs are for everyone. It is for everybody. Accessible buildings, assistive technology, having events where if somebody's sensitive to electromagnetic fields, that we consider powering down those things that cause that radiation or that stimulation out into the air. And then also fragrances, to have fragrance-free events, because some are sensitive to those fragrances, and chemical sensitivity, multiple chemical sensitivity. And more typically what people are used to hearing about is about people with physical disabilities. And we have the blind and visually impaired community and those who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. And I joined my SureTel relative, Jory Prudziński of Hope and Still, hopeandstill.org. That is an oasis for those experiencing chronic pain. And we are working with individuals who are in the community of mental health, those with a mental health diagnosis. And, so we are covering a lot throughout the year, hour by hour, every weekend on a Saturday. So thank you, everybody, for choosing to spend your Saturday afternoon with us, and all of you out there watching and listening as it is restreamed or available on demand week in and week out. It has been quite a ride here at the World of Ability Podcast Network, and we have a show called the Compassionate Citizens Podcast. And so I present my guest as well here today in the World of Ability as also compassionate citizens. We met through the community of the Happy Neighborhood Project. And so we joined Edwin Edeberry, who presents Happiness as a Default Position, available on YouTube. Listen to his TED Talk there. It's also available at happyneighborhoodproject.com. We have a Global Happiness Summit coming up on October 7th. I got my ticket. How about you? Check that out at hmpabc.com/GHS for Global Happiness Summit. And feel free to contact me directly. Again, I'm Kurt Roskopf. My email address is showing on the screen as abilitymknow@gmail for my radio show, Ability MK Now, every Wednesday, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. And all are welcome to be a guest on that show with Community Radio, riverwestradio.com. And you also can reach me through the Disability Channel, where we're showcasing abilities television by and with people with disabilities and veterans. My email there is kurt@thedisabilitychannel.us. And we are teamed up with Project Die Hard, serious about addressing the realm of suicide ideation, creating supports to veterans to help them and serve them and steer their life in the right direction. Hopefully before suicide ideation becomes something in their life. And with the story of Edwin Edeberry, that YouTube video of the TEDx talk, you will see him tell a story as well about how his practice of spreading happiness around the world helped this individual, and he got thanks from that man to say that he was back and forth to a psychologist and it just wasn't doing what he needed, but that conversation Edwin had was what he needed, and there was much thanks for that. So this is serious business that we have here, and if you have any questions about Project DieHard, you can shoot me an email, Kurt, K-U-R-T, at projectdiehard.org. So Marianne, you're out there, out and about. You're outdoors all the time. You're on mute. Don't forget your microphone is muted here. But with your Acts of Kindness book series and the app games and everything that you are doing with your puppets, finger puppets, and so forth, we are ready to have you give an update when you're ready. And Rudy, just sit back and enjoy. We'll carry on here. We see that you are all about how money works and stop being a sucker. So helping you on your financial journey is Rudy Gargiani. And so we're going to get to him a little bit later as we move forward here. So Marianne, if you are ready, you can come unmuted and give us your message of the week, of the weekend, of the day, of the hour.
Aloha. Can you hear me, Kurt?
Yeah, we hear you. Take it away.
Oh, well, I'm here in San Carlos Marina. It's a Saturday here. And anyway, we just got through Hurricane K that passed us. That was a hurricane that was down by Cabo San Lucas, where I was just over a week ago. I flew to San Carlos to join the captain over here and his husky dog, Bea Azul, that I sailed with at the beginning of the year. So I'm on a sailing book signing tour in Mexico. What a journey it's been in the Acts of Kindness series, Kurt. And so thank you so much for having us here on the World of Ability. And I am here at this little cafe outside the marina. It's called Barracuda Bob's. Excellent food. And they made these amazing enchiladas, and they have a burrito, and I asked them to make the enchiladas like a wet burrito back in the United States. And they did it for me, and they want to name the burrito after me. So it's going to be a Marianne de Mexico burrito. So good things are happening. And I just had a lunch with Lynn, who is a English teacher. She's Canadian, who teaches at the high school, who is going to introduce me to some of the teachers in the schools here to bring the Acts of Kindness book series into the classrooms. And it's just been an amazing week, meeting some great people, some other boaters. Kurt, next to us that came in to get away from the hurricane was a famous sailboat, Delros, that has been sailing around the world with a YouTube channel and being funded. They were right next to us and got to swim with them and their little daughter, Brian, Karen, and Sierra. So it's just been a great opportunity to meet some amazing people and to bring the books into the schools. And Clean Water Foundation will be contacting Leon McLaughlin to set up some meetings, but I got to go. The captain is here. I'll talk to you later. Adios.
Adios. Thanks for stopping through. If you can make it back on, please do. I want to set the stage here for the happenings of the day. And so my wife, daughter, and I are going to be heading out in about 20 minutes or so. We're heading out to Pewaukee, Wisconsin, out onto Pewaukee Lake for a party that's going to take place at one of our members' homes. So we're expecting to gather with probably 40 of our friends today with a potluck meal, and good fun to be had, and a nice awards program by our Pewaukee Lake Water Ski Club, our show directors, Cow and Bill. And I've had a little fun saying that's exactly what our show needed, a little bit more Cow Bill. And the nickname of Cow with our one show director is from his last name, Kownick. So we call him Cow for short. And so his first name is Matt, but we call him Cow. And and we got Bill there. We also have fun calling him Willie, so all sorts of entertainment to be had there through the shows of the Pewaukee Lake Water Ski Club. But we just had our last show this past Monday, which was Labor Day. And so the next thing we're looking to host is on October 1st, we're going to have a barefoot tournament out there on Pewaukee Lake. And it's called the Figure 8 Barefoot Tournament because that's the pattern that the boats make, is a figure 8 as the competitors are barefooting. And it's basically a last man standing competition. So as soon as the first competitor falls, that person is disqualified and loses that match, and then goes into the consolation bracket and continues the tournament, in that direction of the tournament. So we have reinvigorated branding that we had in our first dozen years of the show. And that is through a logo of a gator. And it was just the coincidence that as the ski club started, somebody happened to have a costume that was a costume of an alligator, and they incorporated it into the shows. So with branding, they just ran with it and put that alligator in there. So it had nothing to do with the community of Pewaukee or much of the club, other than coincidence of that costuming being at somebody's home. And so we went away from it. We had a logo of, a 4-high pyramid, so 4 people and then 3 people on top of there, and then 2, and then kind of in the stick figure almost type of logo formation. But the show directors this year went into reinvigorating the Gator mantra because we were doing an 80s theme, neon or it can't be on. So I was with my daughter. We did a little skit at the beginning of every show this year, and then we finished up every show kind of in a little father-daughter conversation. It was about me sharing about my excursions and water skiing and watching water skiing on national television and so forth, and set the stage that we're going back to the 80s. And then the younger Kurt Roskopf took over. And so it's basically our main announcer, and obviously a younger guy. And so he took over as the young Kurt Roskopf, and that was the gist of our show. But we're celebrating a tremendous show season that we had this year. And we were able to do adaptive water skiing, helping people with disabilities water ski and or sit ski. We exhibited that fashion of skiing on our Labor Day show. And so, yeah, this is kind of our format. We finished that Labor Day show, and Saturday following, we always have a party, end of year party with announcements and just kind of last chance to see everybody until our next event, which won't be for a few weeks on October 1st. So just kind of giving a heads up here, if you see me moving around, switching devices and whatever, in about 15 minutes or so, that's kind of what's going on here. But Rudy, I want to check in with you if you're ready to come in here, share a little bit more of your story about, what inspired you to get into help us all with money and, be our guide on our financial journey, and, kind of help a guy like me not be a sucker, put it all together for us. How'd you get started on this, and what's it all about?
Oh, definitely. So I've always got an entrepreneurial spirit, and I've always loved helping people. That's kind of been something I've been really passionate about ever since I was probably about, 10 years old, when I was actually selling flowers at my, on the roadside, making $30 a week. But, and the pandemic made me really think a lot about what's going on in the world, what's going on, in my community, what's going on everywhere. And I actually lost my dream job because of the pandemic. I was doing auto sales, which I'm a very big car guy. And as I was sitting at home, I was thinking, well, I want to help people. I want to do something, because this was back when we were all in lockdown. And I tried a few different ventures prior, but nothing really stuck. Nothing really, tugged at my heartstrings. And then last December, I was introduced to this industry, and I realized, oh, wow, this is pretty amazing. I can educate people, which I love doing anyway. I love teaching people things. Sorry, my phone just decides to go off. Stop it, phone. I realized that I can educate people, and that's something I've always loved to do. And when I realized the impact I could have of not just educating people, but being able to help them with something that's very, very relevant, very, very important, our finances. When you hear everything about what's going on in the market, when you hear about inflation, I mean, it's always on the news, looming recession and all that stuff. It really got me thinking about how can I have a really big impact? How can I really help people and serve people on a very high level, make not just a temporary or short-term impact in their life, but a long-term one, a generational one. And when I realized the power of educating people about finances and about being able to help them, whether it's a young family in their 30s looking to set up retirement and protect their kids, or somebody even all the way in their 70s whose retirement account might not be serving them the way they'd like it to, I think that's a really big deal. I think that's very valuable. And when I realized that type of impact, it started tugging on my heartstrings. And I said, "Oh my God, this is huge." And as I started helping people, and when I started building solutions for people, and I saw the actual numbers start popping up, and I saw their dreams come alive, I saw their futures. And it's like, oh wow. In fact, I remember one of the first ones I did, I was looking at the numbers, a good friend of mine, and I realized I was building his future. I was creating his dream. And when I realized that, I almost got a little bit emotional because it's like, oh my God, I just helped this guy for the next 30 years of his life. And I don't know many industries that you can do that you can have that type of impact. And then, if he ever decides to have kids, he'll teach his kids too. And then they'll teach their kids. And then everybody benefits. And I've always had a saying, 200 years from now, when I'm dust and bones, they're still going to be benefiting from what I taught them. And that, to me, when I think of why we become entrepreneurs, I think of, we become entrepreneurs for impact, become entrepreneurs for serving from the heart. We become entrepreneurs for helping people and making an impact in our communities, in our towns, in our states, in the country. We do it for a bigger reason than just money. Money is very secondary to me. In fact, I honestly don't even think about it. I think of, what's the impact I can have? How can I help this person? How can I make the difference in their lives that will benefit them for decades from now? How can I do that? And in fact, there's a quote, Kurt, you might know this. It's a Zig Ziglar quote. And it goes, if you help enough people get what they want, you will get what you want. And that, to me, always, in fact, I heard that quote, God, about a couple of years ago, and it always stuck with me. It's like, oh, you know what? That is right. That does make sense. So it really jump-started me in thinking about, well, how can I help and serve people the best? How can I, do the most for people? How can I be that beacon, that guiding light, that compass for people that might feel a little lost? They might not know what to do about their finances. Let's talk about that. Let's give you a financial needs analysis. Let's see where your numbers are actually at. And then you tell me what your hopes and dreams are. Tell me what you want to do 10, 20, 30 years from now. Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to get kids' education? When do you want to retire? How much do you want to retire on? Let me see if I can help get you there. I got some ideas. Really be able to say, hey, I want to offer you a solution to what you're going through right now. And that'll also serve you later, not just like an immediate one shot, here you go. But I want to offer people hope. I really want people to understand that, hey, you don't have to go this whole journey alone. At the end of the day, money is just a tool, but we're not taught how to use it. I remember in my math class, my personal finance class, I was taught how to write a check. I've done that about 9 times. I don't even have checks. And I realized I didn't learn how to balance a checkbook. I didn't learn what compound interest was. I didn't learn what the rule of 72 was. In fact, I learned that fairly recently. And when you realize all that you don't know, it's kind of eye-opening and also kind of terrifying, because oh man, what do I do? That's okay. That's what I want to help you with. I want to help you understand the basics of finance. I could give you the copy of that book. Explains everything about basics of finance in 5th grade English. It even has pictures in it. It'll capture my attention. I have a really short attention span. It'll capture my attention. I want everybody to have that. I wish that book was in middle schools everywhere. I don't know about you, Kurt, but when I was, 12, 13, 14, I was making money. I was spending it the second I had it, but I made it. I'm granted I bought, old coins and silver dollars and what, so I did good with it. But most people that have a job of that age, mow a lawn for $20. What are you gonna do with the $20? You gonna go to the candy store? What are you gonna do with that? Get them thinking early about that type of stuff. Oh man, I made $20. I'll put that in the savings account. Well, back when savings account actually gave you interest. Invest that, put that into something. Don't just go to the candy store and eat the money away. Like, granted, I've done that a couple of times, but think about it early. When you turn 18 or 19, you're going into the world with a different mindset. You're going into the world with a different understanding of money. And when you have that little edge of knowing how it works, knowing what you can do with it, and knowing how you can have it work for you, that's a big deal because you're empowered. You can make really good decisions. And later on in life, you are going to be so glad you did. You might even want to become an entrepreneur because of it. That's what I'm doing. I'm an entrepreneur now. I'm a business owner. I want to have that impact. I want to have other people teach what I teach. I want to nurture and mentor and help people learn this type of stuff so they can teach other people this type of stuff and they can enrich themselves in the process. They can make that massive impact. That's what I want for the world. I mean, unfortunately, I can only do business in the United States, but at the very least, the message can get out there further because I want everybody to know what we're not taught because the 1% know this stuff already. I want to teach the 99% what the 1% know. There's not a secret handshake, I'll tell you that much. It's a lot simpler and it might surprise you. That book holds a lot of it. And yeah, I'm a nerd for numbers. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. I'm a total nerd for numbers. But, at the end of the day, it's all about the impact. It's all about how can I help this person? How can I help this family? How can I help this business owner? How can I, make that impact? And I know, Kurt, you're really big on impact. You're really big on serving others, serving the community, which I really, really respect. I really, really appreciate. And, in a way, we have that commonality, which I've always thought was really cool. And, the gratitude that we get from serving others, I think is the most powerful feeling in the world. Knowing what we can do with our talents, with our passion, with our energy of, hey, let's make a difference, leave that lasting impact and say, hey, this is who we are. This is what we do. This is how we help people. And it's a big deal. And I wish, and I don't know if maybe COVID, if people just kind of lost a little bit of their inner fire or not, but it's like, hey, you still got that inner fire, that can't go out, right? Like, let's fire that back. Let's fire that up and let's throw some passion back into life because why not? Life's too short not to.
That's exactly right. Life is too short not to. A question I have for you is, do you personally, in what you're doing in helping us, there's financial planning to really look at retirement and to really have that money there and realize your challenges, depending on what life you want to live in retirement years. But what about, I know there's life insurance and so forth, but what about the aspect of heirs and wills? And like you mentioned, when, you're dust and bones, do you get into, that part of like the final, financial plan? Like, how does this affect your heirs?
I haven't really yet, mostly because I've been concentrating so much on slightly more specific areas. Like right now, specifically, I am focusing on helping retirees, mostly because of the volatility of the market and inflation being ridiculous. I want to make sure that, don't mind my cat. I want to make sure that the retirement accounts are not losing money. I want to make sure that if they have it just stuck in a bank, that they're not losing, purchasing power to inflation. So I kind of right now I have a bit of a focus area that I'm working on because I want to make sure everybody's retirement's secured. And honestly, I live in a retirement town, so I kind of want to make sure all my friends and whatnot are good to go, and to secure that wealth so they don't lose it. That's a big focus of mine right now. But I also really love helping young families because I want them to see the future that's possible. I want them to see what is doable for them, especially if they start early. Or even some friends I have that are in their late 20s. I think, hey, look what's possible now. If you're 28, look what you can do over these years. You can utilize the time value of money. You can utilize compound interest. Now check this out. This is what's possible for you because you start out young versus you start out with my age or later. You have more and more time to have your wealth grow. So really bringing that aspect into it is also very important, because I don't think the younger generations know as much as they could. And I feel that it's so valuable and it's not taught. So I worry, where are they getting their understanding of money, and what is their relationship to money? How do they view it? How do they use it? How do they see themselves growing it? How do they see themselves planning for the future? Do they want children? Do they want to be a cat dad like me? What do they want to do in life? Really dig into not just the brass tacks of it, not just the finance, not just the numbers, but their vision for themselves, what they want in life, where they want to go, what they want to do. The deeper questions, not just, hey, how much money do you want to make a month? How much money do you want to save a month? More than that, because those numbers are easy to figure out. But it's the bigger stuff. I want people to think about their lives, what they want, where they want to go. And at the end of the day, as the old saying goes, money makes the world go round. I want people to have a more conscious view of it. I want people to have more of an understanding. Don't view it as some sort of evil mechanism. Rather, it's just a tool that everybody can use equally. Everybody can. A dollar is a dollar is a dollar. Whether you hold it, I hold it, or Elon Musk holds it, it's still a dollar. It's not going to get more valuable just because somebody richer holds it. It's the same dollar.
That's for sure. At one part of your story here, you talked about how you were earning money at 12 years old. And so on my side of it, I happen to have that opportunity as well. My father happened to, quite a bit by accident. He ended up buying a golf course, Rudy. Can you imagine buying a golf course by accident?
A golf course.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
So basically the idea is my dad used to be he was in sales of turf equipment, so basically he would have golf courses as a customer, and the golf course he ended up buying actually wasn't paying the bill on the equipment. Could you imagine having commercial lawnmower equipment at a golf course and it's not paid for? So he went up to collect on there. Well, what he found out, Rudy, is the golf course was under bankruptcy. So he went to the bank, and what the president of the bank ended up doing in that conversation was looking at my dad and saying, my dad's name was Red. And so he looked at my dad and said, Red, I don't want this golf course. You should, we're putting it up for auction. You should put a bid on it. And so my dad wrote down a number that he thought was ridiculous, that these guys for sure would be able to sell it for a higher price than that. But lo and behold, they didn't. They couldn't, apparently. And so the president of the bank, December 1983, is calling up my dad and saying, Red Roskopf, you are the proud new owner of Camelot Country Club in Myra, Wisconsin. So,
wow.
From that point on, you had to figure out what to do. And my great uncle, he was a banker. And he actually told my dad that, wow, he just got himself a real problem, because my great uncle was speculating that was not a good investment and just not really the best next steps. So he legitimately got my father pretty worked up and got my dad nervous about this new position he was in his life.
Right.
Because to make it all happen, I ended up running a second mortgage on our house, and all that kind of stuff was going on. Like,
yikes.
Like all the chips were on the table now.
Oh, man.
So it became that day a family business. And so basically, January 1st, 1984, on New Year's Day, the Globetrotters traditionally come and perform here in Milwaukee. So he took us as family out to the Globetrotters game, and that's where he announced it to us. So through the holidays, he didn't say anything to us, and we learned what happened at the Globetrotters game, and then kind of saying, "All right, this year, 1904, the Roskopfs have to turn it on and make an enterprise out of this thing. We're committed." So we had to go out there and knock down a bunch of tall grass. I mean, just grossly under manicured golf course, but that was quite an experience at 12 years old to
Wow.
come into the golf business. And so yeah, what an opportunity that provided. 13
Oh yeah.
1997 he sold the golf course, and my father was involved in Lions International, so he had is called the BOLD program, blind outdoor leisure development program, out there a handful of times. So we had some golfers who are blind golf at Camelot Country Club in Lemira, Wisconsin.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. So
and here I was just selling flowers. You're working golf courses. That's awesome.
Right?
Love that.
But yeah, we needed our flowers. I planted a lot of flowers in the gardens and whatever.
You should have called me. I would have hooked you up. I would have given you a bulk deal on that. And give me some lead time, but hey, we'll set you up.
Yeah, well, we're still connected in the golf industry. We can still.
That's awesome. Very,
we're
very
being joined here by Barbara. Barbara is one of our panelists. She's been on a ton of our World of Ability podcasts. She's always doing something different on a Saturday at 3:30 in the afternoon. But Barbara, I want to check in. If you did want to come unmuted, feel free. If you're more there to listen, obviously, if you're on one of your days or just listening, that's fine. Otherwise, if you want to add some color commentary, the mic is yours. What are you thinking, Barbara?
Oh, I'm thinking the challenge I was given by the surgeon to make sure that I walk 3 miles a day. And right now, 3 miles seems like such a long way. But I'm hoping it will get easier and easier to do that. I just came back from walking 3 miles. And yeah, and I'm falling asleep. It was like a big challenge for me, but I'm hoping that I'll keep on trying to do it, and it's going to become easier and easier. And I'll find, I'm getting physical benefits by doing that.
Oh, absolutely. It's a good idea for all of us to work on that 3 mile journey, and even thinking of walking 3 miles in Barbara's shoes, that would be something. So, but yeah, that became something with COVID starting 2020. Basically June that year, we got a dog. Basically my daughter got a dog by my wife's permission, and then they told me we now have a dog as of June of 2020. And so now we're looking at taking care of this dog. And I see this dog as being very active, and I don't know if it's the breed or whatever, but I just looked at our dog and it's like, this is not a dog you want to have sitting there, day in and day out. You got to get this dog out there. So that's actually what we came up with, was 3 miles for our dog Minnie, to get her out there through, like 1.5 miles away from home, and then 1.5 miles back. So like a 3 mile round trip to, and a 3 mile walk takes some time. We all know the time it takes to 3 miles. Well, my daughter doesn't have the patience for that. So what she conjured up is that we hop on our bikes and we pedal 3 miles, and then our dog has to run 3 miles.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Smart.
That's a long run, for a dog, to get a small dog. She's a smaller size, fair size, so that's kind of what we got going here. But yeah, I've noticed how good that was for us as a family to have this dog, get motivated to go the 3 miles, and what that's done for us to make sure that we don't get too lax in attending to our health. Kind of like how people can get lax about attending to their financial fitness, right, Rudy?
Oh yeah. Well, I was great at making money, like especially in my 20s, but then I was also really, really good at spending it. Like I was really good at it. I was like, oh, I got money, I'm gonna buy something. But on the subject of pets, I'm now a cat dad of 5. I have this little child right here. She's amazing and a little firecracker. She yells at everyone. I just brought her home. I'm like, Mom, I have another cat. Check it out. She's like, oh, like I do that a lot. I I'm a little bit impulsive with. I see a cute little cat on Facebook. I'm like, oh, free cat. I'll bring it home. So total cat dad over here. But yeah, I really believe that, especially if we don't talk about it, finances could just kind of fall by the wayside. We don't really think if we don't talk about it, it just kind of falls into our subconscious, and it's just we don't really realize some of the decisions we're making. And I think that with the education piece, with seeing the bigger picture, that is so eye-opening to a lot of people, and they realize, oh, this dream is possible with this type of solution, with this type of savings, or oh, I can actually retire. Yes, you can. Here's how that works. Check that out. Or hey, you want to set up something great for your kids. You're 35. Let's talk about that. All of these. I think it's really eye-opening more than anything else when people have a better understanding of what money can do. Because I think it's very one-dimensional, people's thoughts of money. It's more than that. It's so much more than that. And I think it's one of the most gratifying things is to be able to open people's eyes and helping them really truly see the big picture of money, of finance, of understanding how it all works. Because then they feel empowered, they can make the good decisions. And at the end of the day, they're happy. They can live life without worry. And also, if you don't worry, it's healthier for your mind, body, and soul. So they might just live a little longer on top of that, because stress is extremely damaging to oneself. So, it's one less thing they have to worry about in life.
That's right. That's right. So, Barbara, how is retirement life treating you today, other than the 3-mile walk and your post-surgery situation? So,
Yeah, I would love to learn what our guest is talking about money, because I had some money and immediately it just went. It went with a car getting totaled. It went with the apartment getting full of mold and having to be totally renovated. It went with a contractor taking her money and taking off and having to pay for the same stuff twice. And yeah, it's kind of scary right now because I don't, I have very, limited income, and I'm running, I've run out of money that I was given. So yeah, I'd like to, I'd love to be financially secure. I'd love to know how to do that.
Yeah, so we definitely will have to have some post-production time with Rudy. He is somebody we met through the Happy Neighborhood Project. So he's got on his screen here helping you on your financial journey. He shares a book from his organization called How Money Works. And so Rudy would be, he'd be more than happy to do a follow-up with you, Barbara, and, have you enjoy what he's passionate about. What do you think about that, Barbara?
Yeah, that would be wonderful. That would be great.
I'm back. So sorry about that. Today's been a little bit chaotic. That's all good.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, we all got our things going today. Marianne was already on here and off Barbara. So it's just one of those type of shows where it's more like an open house. And now we're going to go bananas with the king of bananas.
Nicholas!
So Nick is muted. He just got on here. He's getting settled in. So Nick, you are on mute yet. But Rudy, we got you on a side.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, Nick. So Rudy, we got Barbara is asking for a follow-up with you because
Love
she's
to.
very intrigued by
Thank
your
you.
passion for helping people in their financial journey. And she was describing while you stepped away a little bit of a disruption that she has. So she actually does have a little tension, about getting your money matters a little bit more stabilized. And
definitely, we could talk about that.
Yeah, the predictability of all that. So Nick, you come in bunches with all your bananas. So thanks for sharing a little of your Saturday with us. How are you
For
doing?
sure. I'm doing absolutely fantastic. How are you guys doing?
Real good, real good. Well,
Doing
give us
good.
a little snapshot. What's going on for you on a Saturday? What are you taking? What are we taking you away from? And what's the story of Nick Davis on a Saturday, September 10th?
Right on, dude. Yeah. So right now I'm just kind of hanging out, had some lunch and stuff like that. Went to go get the oil changed, and I was like, all right, cool. It should be done about nowish. Then I was like, okay, and I was like, running out of time. I was like, okay, cool. Go to a slower. So I hopped over to a quieter location and popped on a headset, and here I am, basically.
All right.
And then later on tonight, I'm gonna go dancing. Gonna have some fun, Definitely fun.
All right. Barbara, you're one of those that likes to dance, right?
Oh, love to, love to. Right now, I'm trying to walk. I walk with a walker 3 miles a day, trying to get back to where I can walk again and drive again. That's my challenge.
Now, what you got to do is you got to take that walker, squeeze it really hard, and then lift up that ankle, even if it's only a millimeter, just enough. Okay, it's off the ground. Give it a little shake, and then lean over, lift it up, give it a little shake, and then continue on and say, "There I am. That was my dance for the day."
There you go.
You got to go with what you got. Take what you can get. No giving up here. So Nick, we were talking to Rudy a little bit. You know Rudy, right? You two know each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he was talking about how he's helping people on their financial journey, so on and so forth. And Barbara's talking about how she's in retirement and there's stuff going on in where she lives and different stuff like that, a little disruption in life. But you want to go into a little bit about, kind of a bit about your services, kind of your trek in the health insurance industry and your branding of Reclaim Your Premium. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Give it to us. What do you got? How does it work?
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. So yeah, absolutely, just like Kurt said, Nick or Nicholas, depends on how much trouble I'm in at the moment, and got a fantastic saying for you guys today. Reclaim your premium. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So man, if you don't know what you're paying for, then why are you paying for it, honestly, right? So I work in the wonderfully awesome and incredibly exhilarating world of health insurance. That crowd goes wild. Man, you gotta have fun. Somebody's gotta have fun with this stuff, right? So basically, I'm one of the few people in the United States that can write a full-on health, dental, vision, and benefits PPO plan, which is a big, big, big deal, right? The reason why that's a big deal is because in the United States, about 80% of all the solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, mom and pop shops, those individuals, really all they have access to are two different kinds of plans, HMOs or EPOs, right? So that's a health maintenance organization or exclusive provider organization, right? The crazy thing about those is they only work in the state you live in, which is totally nuts, right? I mean, some would say it's bananas. Anyway, I just had to throw that in. My jokes get worse the older I get. But primarily, the reason why I work with these PPO plans is because you get to choose your hospital. You can pick your doctor. You can go anywhere in the continental United States. That's a big, big, big deal. That's kind of like the same kind of coverage we all used to have when we were W-2 working for somebody else, right? So really, it's the power of choice is a big, big deal. And the reason why it's, RYP or hashtag Reclaim Your Premium, reclaimyourpremium.com, stuff like that, is because, I mean, all of it, there's a lot of individuals out there that are just, blindly paying money, just boom, 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 every single month. Might not know specifically what they're paying for, or if it's even going to work when they want it to work, but they're just doing it just to check off a box, right? And so the idea is, take back some of that money that you've been spending on things that, you might not know if it's going to work or not, and put it towards something that's actually custom tailored for your needs, that's heaven forbid going to work when you need it to, and 3, that you can actually use, which is fantastic, right? And heaven forbid might actually save you a little bit of money down the process, might not, but you're going to get better access, better treatment, better coverage, and freedom of choice, which is a big, big deal, right? So anyway, that's me in a nutshell, or a Zoom box, either way you want to square it. So go ahead and close the same. My name is Nick Davis. Reclaim your premium. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
There you go. We needed that. A little whoop, whoop, whoop is good for podcasting. Right?
Yeah, yo.
Right. So Nick, as you described that, our thoughts gravitate a lot to, you know, our income generating years, you know, and up to retirement basically. But can you pick up on that? Like how is your company and how are you serving your, you know, what are the limitations for those who are retired? How does that look for health insurance?
Yeah, it's actually, you read my mind. I was just getting ready to talk about that. So a lot of my clients actually end up being early retirees, which is kind of fun. A lot of individuals are really scared to retire because they're like, look, you know, I don't know if I want to retire or not, because it's just, you know, I don't know what's going to go on with my benefits. I don't want to lose my benefits or anything like that. And so what I end up doing is I end up talking to them and I'm like, hey, look, you know, I've got a plan for you, and which is really, really great, honestly. And so it allows them the freedom to stop working for somebody else and start living on their retirement income, which is a big deal, right? Because as far as clients go, I can work with clients up to 65 years of age, which is really, really great, right? And so, I mean, actually, it's really fun for a little bit of time. Some individuals were actually sending me their parents, which is kind of fun. They were like, "Hey, Nick, you know, dad retired, and you know, mom's 61, he's 65, so he's on Medicare. He's okay, but we're really worried about mom. Like, what are we gonna do about mom? You know?" And I was like, "Dude, don't worry about it. I got you. No big deal." And so I'm able to my any hospital in the United States, and they don't have to worry about it. So it's health, dental, vision benefits, which is awesome.
Good stuff. Rudy, I want you to pick up on this. You too are kind of passionate about what you can do for folks in their 60s and beyond with what Nick is talking about in terms of health insurance. First of all, your organization doesn't have a health insurance option, does it?
I do have a health license. There's a little bit I can do with that, not a ton. But honestly, my focus is more like life insurance and annuities.
Right.
That's more my thing. Mostly because that's an area I'm really comfortable with. Plus, also with what I can do with those various products and solutions can be very, very impactful. That's also an area I have more expertise in. But yeah, I mean, the big thing that I worry about is people that are in their retirement, especially if they've worked, you know, for a long time. You know, they've potentially made a good amount of money, and I always wonder what is their mentality as far as when they transition into retirement, when they are in retirement, what are they doing with their retirement? What are they doing with their hard-earned money? Is it sitting in a bank? Is it sitting in the stock market? Is it sitting in, where is it? What is it doing for them? Is it safe? Does it have, you know, protection, you know, against the downside? Does it have a way to kind of outpace inflation? Does it have, you know, do they have it in a place where they won't outlive their money? How is their retirement serving them? Or is it just sitting under a mattress? Or is it gold bars? You know, I really think a lot about that type of thing, because I know that, you know, a lot of the prior generations worked really hard. I mean, my grandma worked in 2 companies her whole life. She worked for Consolidated Freightways for 20 years, and she worked for Morgan Stanley Inwood for 23. So you can't really do that anymore now, because I mean, nowadays people are jumping jobs like crazy. But you know, if you have a pension, if you have a 401k, if you have, you know, your retirement in a vehicle and it's not serving you, I want to say, hey, let's take a look and see if we can get you something that will serve you better. Because I really worry about that, especially with inflation being the way it is and with the market being the way it is. You know, I want to make sure I can help people, because it's really, really hard to unretire. People had to do that in 2009. I cannot fathom what it would be like to unretire, especially if you're in your 60s and your 70s. How could you even do that? That honestly kind of scares me a little bit, because I would hate to see people have to go down that route for whatever reason that might be. And I really want to be able to be there to help the, you know, the senior citizen clientele, saying, hey, it's okay. Let's make sure your retirement's secure. You worked hard for that. You worked really hard for that. Let's make sure it stays safe.
Yeah, we definitely see a lot of that senior citizens out there, and, you know, just crazy big numbers, just falling short on what they want for their lifestyle in retirement years. And they're picking up jobs. They're going working that part-time stuff to get a paycheck coming, because they kind of want to do more stuff than the money in their bank is set up for. So we're seeing a lot of our senior citizens doing that. But Nick, you want to speak a little bit to, financial advisors and, it's reclaim your premium. So people have to pay their premiums, and, we get a lot of circumstances where paying the premium can be tough, and somebody might be tempted, whittle that down, or maybe not, maybe for a bit, they're like, I can't even pay my health premium. Do you run into that where you're helping people almost in a financial advising thing because all of a sudden they're challenged on, the premium that you present? What is that?
Yeah, no, I absolutely do. I absolutely do. And honestly, it really comes down to having a solid financial plan. And if you don't have one of those, it's definitely Rudy is a great guy to talk to you for that, because he can get you squared away on the financial side of the fence. On the upside, there are options available for individuals if they're like, look, I just, they're like, I can't do whatever, or if they're like a crazy weird low income or something like that. The way the ACA works is, so the ACA is a bit of a trade, right? They're going to help you, but on the flip side of the coin, if they help you, you have to have their stuff, right? And the ACA stuff is those HMOs and EPOs that only work in the state you live in, and it lets the insurance deem what's medically necessary, right? So as long as you can play by those rules, the government will help you out. And the lower your income is to the federal poverty line determines the amount of subsidy or percentage of your policy that the government will pay for you. So you have a lower premium, right? If your income goes below that poverty line, there's like a little bit, like a couple grand below that poverty line or so. That's kind of an ish kind of water. But if you go too far below that, then you reach the Medicaid side of the fence, and Medicaid is free, right? All you have to do is apply for it, which is kind of nice. And so I've run into individuals that are like, look, Nick, I'm unemployed. I don't make any money whatsoever. I'm just trying to make ends meet back to back, And I'm like, hey, well, look, and they're like, look, I can't have health. I'm like, you absolutely have health insurance. It's just the degree of health insurance that a lot of people have trouble figuring out, if that makes sense, right? Once again, that's where I come to play, which is great. Advisor, my services are completely free, right? I actually more advice than anything else, to be honest with you. Between individuals that I talked for situations just as these, whether or not it's friends or family, they're like, hey Nick, I've got this policy with my work. I really don't know if it's okay or not. Can you just get it over? I'm like, yeah, sure, no big deal. So I'm always specific aspect of it as well. But yeah, and everybody can get health insurance. It just depends on where you're at to the degree of health insurance that you can get, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. People who are budgeting, that's no matter what they're buying or applying their budget to, that's always the consideration. It's like anything, you get what you pay for, and sometimes you just have to make a tough choice to do it less because they have less. So Barbara, I want to check in with you. What are you thinking as Nick's bringing in the topic of health insurance, and you just went through a surgery and you're kind of rehabbing and reinviving your life and trying to get back to that active life you're used to. But how are things looking for you on the health insurance side and paying those medical bills that, are just inevitable?
Yeah, well, I got hooked up with a very good program that Obama and this Dr. Chen, this Asian doctor, put together called Chen Med, and there's a couple of programs like that where they're really, you can get free medical care and dental and vision, and they'll acknowledge your birthday, and they'll bring a sip and paint, and they'll bring free movie days. In one place they give you a Asian in the mornings and a Latin meal in the afternoon. So you get to see, in America, people really are doing their best to take care of the elderly. And, I'm scared, I'd hate to lose that. It's been such a benefit.
There you go. So that's what our show is all about here, advocating and appreciating these insights like what you just shared, Barbara, about the importance of these programs. I think the legislators out there and the policymakers, everybody administrating these programs, it's good and healthy that we as Americans share around things that are valued and vital and important and relied upon, that we share those stories so that people don't get ideas of changing it or taking things away and stuff like that. So maybe our show will play a little role in that. So right now I'm just going to do a quick little fun thing because we're going to be wrapping up the show here real quick. Let's see here. It looks like Tim Tarosian is logging on. So Tim, if you are able to unmute, feel free. If you're here just to listen, that's fine. We just got a few minutes of the show, and with the few minutes, we're going to do a little something quick. It's from that old show, A Minute to Win It. So we're just going to give everybody a minute to give a final thought, and then we're going to wrap up here. So Rudy, we're going to start with you. A minute to win it. Good luck. What's your final thought for the audience today?
Ooh, good one. I have not drank coffee in 5 months. My final thought is don't be afraid to chase your dreams. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. That's what I've done. The past 2.5 years have been a massive, crazy, insane, terrifying, wonderful, transformational journey for me. And if there's one thing I've learned, that when you put yourself out there, when you bet on yourself, when you really decide to take life by the horns and say, hey, I'm in control of my own destiny. I'm captain of my ship. I'm going to go where I want to go in life, and nothing else is going to stop me. That opens up doors you never thought existed. That's the kind of stuff that when you wake up in the morning and you think about it, you said, you know what? I'm the captain of my destiny. Let's go. That's powerful stuff. And you feel different. You feel different. You move different. You act different. You exist different when you are in that headspace. Take life by the horns.
There we go. That we shall do. We will work on that together. Tim, just in case you forgot, *6 is on your telephone. *6 can unmute you, Tim, if you are looking to come into our minute to win it conclusion here. But Nick, we'll go to you. You got a minute to win it to give your last thought for our audience.
Good. All right. So last thought for the audience. All right. So health insurance is very, very, very important. If you don't have it, you should probably get it. Right now, as far as like levels of access and like who can do what and so on and so forth, it's very common belief that just the average person can see everything. Right. Well, however, that's not as true as it could be. Right. So civilians got basically an access about maybe 20% or so what's out there. Right. Brokers can then go about maybe about 30% over that. Right. And so basically brokers can sign up civilians for stuff that they don't have access to. Right. Then there's people like me. Nobody knows I exist. So I network. I'm an advisor. I sit at the very tippy tip top of the pyramid so I can see everything and have access to the stuff that brokers aren't allowed access to because it requires more schooling, teaching knowledge, Long story short, get yourself an advisor, save your time, save your money, and get a plan that actually works for you in a more effective state.
Excellent. Excellent. That's one to go on. And so, Barbara, we're over to you. A minute to win it. What's your final thought for our audience today, Barbara?
I'm just seeing, walking with the walker, and I'm seeing what our friend Vargas goes through, someone in a wheelchair, and how we really have to open our eyes to each other and be willing, to help and to see and be more family to each other. It's like, and life would just become more fruitful and more colorful and more fragrant. I believe it.
All right, excellent. See how Barbara tied you in, Nicholas, to become more fruitful?
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Right. we can't end this show on any better note than that. Again, thanks Tim Tarosian for coming on in here at this tail end. We always appreciate everything Tim is doing with the Blue Collar Crypto Show that will be on tomorrow afternoon. That is on the schedule for 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern on Sundays. Blue Collar Crypto by Tim Tarosian, who's on here just checking in on us as we finish this show. I'm yours, Kurt Roskopf. Feel free to call and text me, 262-372-1SKI. That's 262-372-1754. AbilityMKE now@gmail.com. The radio show on Wednesdays, riverwestradio.com. And Wednesdays, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, a 29-minute radio show experience that you're all welcome to be our guests. Just contact me for that. Big thanks to the Disability Channel and everything done for showcasing abilities, television by and with people with disabilities and veterans, and Zach Clayton out there in Colorado with Community Pay It Forward, producing podcasts all coming together, PAC channel. And then we have Marcus Hart with Transform You Media Network. So we have quite a conglomeration, a collaboration here, and collaboration also over at the Happy Neighborhood Project. Don't forget to mark your calendars for the Global Happiness Summit, October 7th. We'll be talking about that on every show here at the World Ability Podcast. And with that, I'm yours, Kurt Roskopf, signing off till next time. Thanks for everything you do, watching our videos and shows. Please, on YouTube and Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere you see us, please react, comment, and share. Take care, everybody. Good luck.